Hey, in this video, we're going to change the faceplate on a Fender amp. This is that 68 that I built the cab for. It's not so easy to swap this out. You would think all you have to do is remove the knobs, the nuts here for the input jacks. But the problem is this pilot light right here. When you take the pilot light off, when you unscrew it, there's a female part here that is screwed on from the back side of this. So you actually have to take the amplifier out of the cabinet in order to take that out to get this faceplate off. You're going to need some Allen wrenches. You're going to need a 5/64 for these. If you have an older amplifier like I do, and they have a little set screw. So you'll turn these all to 1, and then this will fit into the set screw. And again, that's a 5/64. This newer amplifier is probably going to have a set screw that is, I think, slotted. For the input jacks, you're going to need a 1/2-inch socket. So let me get to taking these off. Again, just unscrewing them a little bit and they pop right off. Once you have those knobs off, you do have this 1/2-inch nut here. So you can take that off carefully. As soon as you loosen them up, then you can hand loosen them off the rest of the way. And you want to make sure that no power is running to the light. So make sure it's unplugged. Okay, so now I have all the knobs off. And then you're going to continue to loosen the nuts on all of the pots. Really, you just have to make sure you break them free, and then you're going to use your fingers to hand unscrew them the rest of the way. Okay, one tip, I would leave one of these on the corner because you don't want this to be loose and floppy as you pull this backwards. Remember, we have to take this amplifier out of the cabinet, and to do that, this has to slide backwards. And so when you slide it backwards, there's a chance that this faceplate could catch and bend, and you don't want to do that. So keep this one tight right here. It's already tight here on this side. Again, that's kind of the issue because there's no way to really unscrew this without getting behind there. Take this light bulb out, push in, and unscrew it. Go counterclockwise, and that light bulb should pop out. Be careful doing that. Next thing is you have the straps. So inside there's a nut down here, and so you have to take these straps off. You got to reach in, hold that nut. You can't do that without taking off the back panel. So take off the back panel first, and then reach under there, hold that nut as you unscrew the long screw, and take those straps off. To slide your amplifier backwards, you have to take out this screw right here that's holding in your power cord. You could feed the power cord up through there, but it's just easier really to just go in there and take that screw out that's holding in your power cord. The reverb tank wires right here, so you can unscrew this, or actually I'm just going to unplug them. And the only other thing I got to watch out for is the speaker wire. I'm going to unplug that. Okay, so there's the nut right there that you have to hold with your fingers. So you got to kind of reach up there, hold that with your finger, and then unscrew from the top. So once you have those two nuts off, you should be able to pull the strap straight up like that. You can put those nuts back on there so you don't lose them. When you take the chassis out, it's a good idea to have some kind of blocks to put the chassis on. Kind of line it up sort of like this. That way you don't have to take the tubes out. The safest way is to take the tubes out, put them aside somewhere safe. Then you can just pull it out and set it on your table. I'm going to keep the tubes in, use these blocks. When you're taking this out, make sure that it doesn't get caught, the faceplate doesn't get caught. So you have to kind of put some upward pressure and then pull out slowly. Just take your time. I'm going to put the one end on the block right here, line up the other end like that. Okay, so once you have the chassis out, what you're going to look for now is the nut behind the light right here. So that nut right there is holding this on. So you got to loosen that. And there's probably a specialty tool to do that, but I just use a needle nose pliers carefully and just loosen it a little bit, and then you'll be able to probably unscrew it from the front. So we get those needle nose pliers in there and carefully start to loosen it a little bit at a time. You're going to slip a little bit, but if you're careful, you won't really damage anything. There, it's already loose. One more. There we go. So hold this in place, spin it from the front, and then I can spin it this way. You can see it's backing off. It's off. And the front part, the base of that should come right out. Okay, now remember on this side, we still had this one nut holding this in place to keep that side tight, this corner from catching and bending. Now this should come off, and you can see it's a piece of aluminum. So these silver faces, they have a clear coat on top of them. And what happens is the clear coat starts to fail after many years, and then you start to get corrosion on top of the aluminum underneath that layer. So it starts to look really, really crappy after a while. This one's particularly beat up, especially here where they gouged out some kind of serial number or something. I even heard that people back in the day used to put their social security number here or something crazy like that. So the new one is going to be a big improvement, and this does look really sharp on there. This can be a little tricky to get started. So make sure you get it on straight. You don't want to cross thread it and damage the threads. So what I found you can do here at this step, so we have a lot of play in there. Now you can take the pilot light, put it on the front, and tighten it. And then use that to screw this. While you hold the nut with these fingers, you can keep turning that, and that will tighten it and snug it up. And that snugs it up pretty nicely. You can take the pliers and try to snug it up just a little bit more if you want. Again, these pliers are not ideal. If you have a better way, leave it in the comments. Share with everybody that you do this. If there's another tool, it's really hard to get a wrench in there that is that size. And again, I bet there's a specialty tool for that, but for this, you know, very rare time that you would need it, that's plenty tight right there. So if I back this out, it's going to stay tight. So I can unscrew this and it's staying tight. So we're good to go there. So now it's pretty easy. Just make sure you put all of the washers back on the input jacks, put all the nuts back in place, put the knobs back in place, make sure all the knobs are turned all the way counterclockwise. And when we put the knobs on, you want to make sure that the number 1 is pointing straight up. So turn it all the way counterclockwise and then put the number 1 pointing down right there at that little pointer. Don't forget to put your light bulb back in there. Yeah, I think that looks way better. Really looks sharp now. Doesn't look all beat up. Hey, thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Hope this video helped you.